Yo, what's going on, boys? So just got done with some chest and some back. Did incline treadmill walking at about a 3 mile an hour pace for about a mile and a half in 30 minutes. So that was pretty good. Getting my steps in there, keeping the metabolism rates high, and just sweating toxins and all that. It's great. So you guys can refer to me as doctor in the comments or whatever. DR. I think that's pretty fitting. And I want to talk about accountability. One of the guys was mentioning virtues. I think that's a great way of saying it. Because already what I'm sort of talking about is that. It's just a better way of describing, like in one word, what it is we're talking about. So in this video, we're going to talk about accountability. And in such a world where nobody wants to really take accountability for their actions, you know, you kind of see it everywhere. The Me Too movement, the victim mindsets, it's not my fault. You know, I had parents that weren't good enough or whatever. And, you know, you hear it everywhere. You know, it's like, I'm sorry you grew up in a bad environment. You know, life isn't supposed to be easy, I guess. And for some people it is. Why is that? I don't know. Chance and luck, I guess. But when we can take full responsibility for our actions, we can become such a leader that it's like not even on the same level. When I was working doing furniture moving, I was in charge of like a team, right? And there was like 3 guys, you know, and if we didn't get stuff done on time, it was my fault because I'm the leader. I didn't blame the fact that those guys were taking too long, that, you know, they wanted to just go have lunch and then they were wasting time and they couldn't build the tables fast enough, because what we would do is we'd go in and kind of like furnish an apartment. Maybe somebody would come in and rent it out they could be there a week, months, years, whatever. And it could be from a 1-bedroom all the way to a 3-bedroom. And so you would have to go in and we'd have to put up beds, paintings, TVs, like everything, like fully furnished. It was just a service one of the companies was doing and we were doing it, helping them out. But if that stuff wasn't done on time, and, you know, we often had like 2 to do throughout the day because these guys are taking too long, I can't just say that. You know, oh yeah, these guys were taking too long. No, it's my responsibility to motivate and to help these guys out. I like to lead from the front. What does that mean? That means actually getting in the weeds and doing it. Not just saying, you do that. I'm going to sit back and I'm going to watch you. How goes the work? You know, that's not leading from the front. Leading from the front is being in there. So I would go in and I would help these guys out. Be like, all right, what do you need help with? Oh, can you help me with the table? Because we'd have to like take an Allen wrench, bend it to put it in a drill to make it go faster. So all these things I was thinking about how to be more effective and faster to get the job done. Because there was oftentimes we were there like past 11 p.m. And I didn't really like that. Maybe they did, you know, because they can get the hours. But for me, I was ready to go home. I was ready to eat something and go to sleep because you got to repeat the whole thing again in the morning. And oftentimes those guys were like temps, so they're not actually employed by the company, so they'd go and do a different job, you know, the next day. And so how do you deal with that kind of behavior? You know, it's like, oh, why are you taking so long? It's my fault. You know, and when we get used to just saying things are our fault, and we just take that as a default, all of a sudden everything starts to become a little bit easier for us. And I know it sounds kind of weird, but for me it was just like, yeah, it's my fault. You know, any repercussions, it's gonna be my issue, right? Even if it was their fault. And maybe you can go back and say, hey man, I need you to work faster next time. And oftentimes we did have to say that kind of stuff. But, you know, it is really my duty to motivate those guys to push forward, to push harder. How did I do that? It was really just about, hey, I'm in here with you guys. I'm here to do this. We have a job to do. We need to get on to the next one by this time. We have a deadline. Okay, I was very like living by a schedule, those kinds of things. So when we can take accountability, we can become the best leader possible. That's just my experience. And then even if you're in a situation where you can't really be the leader, there's always somebody under you, right? If you're at your work, there's always a young guy. There's always like a new hire that you can teach, right? You can always just be accountable for them. Be like, you know what? I'm going to be a mentor. And I'm going to be accountable for their learning as they get up. As long as they're actually putting in the work, you know, then you can actually take responsibility for that. And as a military leader, if the dude lost all of his men, he has to go home and live with that, because he was responsible for them. Maybe he made a wrong call. Maybe he said attack and he shouldn't have, right? It's just the way it is. But yeah, in the society of today, man, where it's just like everyone seems to be a victim and nobody really wants to take full responsibility for their actions, it's just insane. And so if we can do this and take full ownership of why our life is in the trash, of why we're fat, of why we're lazy and we don't live by our schedule, and why we don't track our food, then we're automatically going to be doing so much better than about 90% of the world. Think about it. Don't you want to be in the top 10%? I mean, let's go. I do. And I know you do too. I think most people do. They're just not willing to put in the work and the effort required to get there. So when we take full responsibility for why we're fat, for why we're being lazy, you're going to ascend to like a whole nother level. Because the first step is taking ownership, is understanding what's going on and then taking that ownership and then being able to move forward on that. Maybe you don't have all the steps yet. Maybe you don't know how to structure a workout plan, but you can take, you know what? I'm this way because of myself. It's nobody else's fault. They didn't make me eat those cakes. They didn't make me overeat and indulge, right? They didn't, force, ice cream down my mouth. Like, it didn't happen. And so sometimes we feel peer pressure by others to indulge in bad behaviors, like drinking, like eating stuff we shouldn't at parties and stuff. Guys, I've never been peer pressured in anything. I've had guys try to have me take shrooms and alcohol and smoke and do all this stuff. Never did it. And I think they can have full respect for somebody like that who can actually stand firm in what they believe. And they aren't wishy-washy in the wind like, oh, well, maybe they'll like me if I actually do this. They don't care about you. They don't care about you at all, bro. And it's unfortunate, and that's just the reality, because guess what? They're not going to be there when, you have health issues, right? Oh, let's head for the hills. Where are my friends at? I don't know. I can't find them. The first sign of adversity, is those guys there for you? If they are, that's awesome. That means that they could be true friends. But, most people, especially in today's world where it's like relationships don't last, and I'm not saying all of them, but I am saying some of them, that it's just on to the next, right? Grass is greener on the other side. And, my brother and I have been like best friends ever since, he was born. And that is such a rare friendship to be able to not only think the same way, but be able to express and, I don't know, just, it's a great friendship. And so, I don't have a ton of friends because not all of them think this way. Because the other thing is let's say you had a massive amount of friends, you're getting distracted, and we're already getting distracted on this topic, but you know what I mean. Where it's just like, you got to have those like-minded people around you. And maybe they can hold you accountable as well, right? Maybe you can have an accountability partner. Now, I don't always advocate for that because I think you need to be accountable for your own actions. But if that's going to help you out in the short term, then why not? It can get you on track. Maybe you need some training wheels, and then you're going to take those wheels off, and now you're going to be able to ride a bike with 2 wheels. But I think a lot of times it's just getting started. Just admitting the fact. A lot of us want to hide and bury our heads in the sand like an ostrich and say, you know what? I don't want to deal with that problem right now. There's so much going on in life. There's so much to explore. There's so much YOLOing to do that we don't need to think about, the gym and our long-term health and what is fasting, what is spiking my insulin levels too much and overeating. Just learning a lot about everything, like I always say. But Anyway, boys, this video is about 10 minutes here, so I'm going to catch you on the next one. But in a world full of fakeness and deception, I want you to keep dominating your reality, and see you in the next one. Have a good day.